Sit down for a moment and allow me to tell you a story. Once upon a time there was a game, one created by a known legend of whom were behind such powerful titles such as Skyrim. This game was said to be the best and only online Fallout experience one could find. However, unknown to the majority of their player base, there was a darkness brewing of which would shake the gaming world to their knees. It was called Fallout 76, and a mighty force it was, because with it came backlash unlike the world has ever seen, all their loving fans finally accepting their truth, that this Fallout will never be the light that we Wastelanders seek. But soon there was a whisper of something greater, something that could possibly change our minds and hearts, and finally bring fun and excitement back to this wasteland of ours. This whisper became louder and louder, clearer and clearer, and finally that moment has arrived. That weak whisper has become a strong voice. Fallout 76 Wastelanders is finally here. So let's go ahead and jump in and see if this update was truly worth the wait. Now this is just my first impressions of the game. I will be taking a more in-depth look later on. Today is all about what this game just truly feels like, I guess, and if it's worth your time, so I hope you enjoy. I will keep this mostly spoiler free. Let's get into it. The moment I logged into the game, I could sense something just different. Visually, the game seems sharper. It was mentioned prior to this update that they changed up their lighting system. I didn't think it would make a big difference, or any really. I was dead wrong. A year has passed within the game, and Bethesda has done a great job to make it actually feel like time has progressed. Maybe it's just my imagination, I'll have to go back and do some comparisons, but it seems the grass is actually a little taller. Some locations just feel different altogether. One good example of this is the fairgrounds. As I walked around here, I just couldn't help but notice that it felt more visually impactful. Now don't get me wrong, the changes are very subtle, but they are definitely noticeable. Like the date on your Pip-Boy, for instance, something you may never pay attention to, has actually moved forward a year. There are just these little hints that the world has really moved on. It's a really good tool to use for world building, and it works magnificently. There are so many different things to touch on, it's a little hard to decide what I want to talk about first. Of course, these are still my impressions, as I've only spent about 8 hours playing and have barely scratched the surface. So some things I may not get to. That being said, let's go ahead and get the obvious change out of the way. The human NPCs. First off, yes, they are very well done. I'm actually surprised how much I liked everything. The moment you start the game and travel to Vault 76, you can start conversing. And it's not only the new NPCs, some old ones also have this new system implemented. The voice acting is very well done so far, but even more vital is the quests that the NPCs give. So far I've experienced quests that I've thoroughly enjoyed. Again, I've only played 8 hours and have only really started 2 quest lines. This really speaks volumes of how big this update is. I haven't even touched on the new weapons yet either. The NPCs I've ran into thus far have impressed me. You have these very dynamic situations that can happen. For example, I had this one quest early on where you have to place a sign at your camp to draw in a gang that is searching for a specific person, and you have to set up a broadcast system and wait for them to show up at your camp. When they show up, you are actually given multiple choices of how you wish to deal with them. I ended up using my strength stat to scare them off and killed them while they walked away because of how rude they were being. If any other quests are even similar to this, then this goes to show you how much fun and inventive these entirely new situations can be. Of course, this wasn't all the quest entails, but I'm keeping this video mostly spoiler free, so I'm sorry if I seem like I'm being vague. It's purposely done. This isn't just some new update, it really does make Fallout 76 seem much more alive and immersive. For instance, certain quests or conversations can turn enemies who are dangerous and quick to attack to allies who won't attack you unless you provoke them. This makes it seem like you actually impact the world around you, which brings me to my next point. Now, while exploring this world, you may run into some NPCs and you can actually attack them. Actually, you can almost attack any NPCs, which sounds psychotic, I know, but this sense of choice is a really big step for Fallout 76. This game has officially evolved from being an empty wasteland to a lively one. A quick note, depending on how you treat an NPC, whether you're rude, forceful, nice, it all feels like it impacts that character's thoughts on you, or at least that's how it seems right now. Maybe this will change, I just need to dive deeper into the game. A major factor of this dialogue system is the skill checks. Now, skill checks generally are placed in RPGs to make it seem like your character is more personalized beyond other reasons, of course. At first glance, it may just seem like this is just based on stats, and while that's usually true, in Fallout 76 it can also be based off previous quests you've done, For instance, I joined up with the Scouts, one of the very few factions, well, kind of factions, that existed before Wastelanders, and the game took that knowledge and implemented it as a dialogue choice. This allows you to feel unique. It gives a purpose to certain quests you've done previously. This really makes me want to continue playing this game, so I can dissect every little detail. So far, all the quests I've played, for the most part, have been more than promising. The story and characters have me intrigued. I do want to keep pushing forward, which is pretty new to experience-wise when it comes to Fallout 76. Now, if you've never touched the game but do like the Fallout experience in general, then now is probably the best time to look into playing it. It's just a fun experience, whether you're an OG Wastelander or a fresh face emerging from Vault 76, it's all enjoyable and I can't wait to fully review it. I have a feeling what I've mentioned so far is just scratching the apocalyptic surface. This is just touching on the main section of the update, not even mentioning the many quality of life changes, like being able to drink or eat any items without having to pick them up, which also works for weapons as well. You can equip and set them as your favorite without having to go into your inventory. Now, objective markers for quests are also changed up quite a bit, making them more accessible overall. One of my favorite changes, if you have a perk card that allows you to search a container again, it will automatically be done when searching that object. This change is so small, they're all so small, but the difference it makes is huge. And this is just a few of many quality of life changes that exist in the game now. I will be covering a full list in my actual review of this game pretty soon. The best part of this update, I find, is how it runs. Everything just feels so much better to play. They did something, and you can definitely notice the game just plays better. Also, it may just be my imagination, but it seems like the build limit has also been increased quite a bit. There's so much more to this update that I'll have to save it for another video, but the questions remain. Is Fallout 76 Wastelanders what we expect? Does it improve the game? Does it bring many issues like all updates for the game does? Well, the former part of that question is an easy answer. Yes, it has more than improved the game. It's more than I expected, and I'm not even done going through the game at all, not even close. But the latter part of this question, well, that's gonna take some time to answer. However, so far, I've experienced a couple issues, but none that were actually game-breaking. I haven't even mentioned the influx of players making the game just feel more populated. Overall, I think Fallout 76 is about to go into an interesting direction, one that many doubted would ever happen. Yet, here we are. Is Fallout 76 finally cracking out of its shell, evolving into a beast of its own? Or is this update a false light to drive us deeper into disappointment? My personal opinion, well, so far, is obviously positive. More than that, it's beyond what I wanted. So far, that is, of course. Many things need to be seen before my final opinions, but as it stands right now, Wastelanders is an excellent choice to spend your time while you're isolated. Now, I hope you all are staying safe, and I can't wait to bring you some more content to enjoy while you're sitting at home, if you're sitting at home. Now, thank you guys so much for joining me for this video. I am sorry for that intro. I might be doing some more unique things like that to my other videos, just to add a little bit more creativity to them, to make them feel a little bit less like gaming news and just a little bit more personalized. Now, thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. I'm out of here.